Hefe. Care about number, what the check say. I can't run, I can't hide from no nigga, no. I still wanna take my mama to the Poconos. Gotta buy on a house, $1 million row. Played it fair with these niggas, put me in a hole. I got scars, I'm still healing, don't nobody know. I've been living independent, beefing with my bro. It ain't even about the money, it's the principle. They say blood a little thicker, I ain't feel it though. I got problems on my handle, I'm a grown man. I don't wanna murder nothing, use the wrong hand. Niggas put you in your feelings, playing like your friend. She been rocking hard body, say she not a fan. Malibu, picking beats, meet me on the sand. I got flights chasing heights, I don't wanna land. Shit really hit different, niggas understand. But you should never make a statement on another man. Judge give a life sentence, make you understand. I can make 100 million sticking to the plan. 20,000 on my watch, 20 in my pants. Like a nigga hit a lick, do my money dance. Everything independent, needed in advance. Big sad motivation, I've been in a trance. Take a picture of me ballin', niggas in the stand. I've been making niggas bitter, they don't stand a chance. I can't run, I can't hide from no nigga, no.
What's the good old big deal with the good old people, man? It's your boy Young Aunt Hefe. Don't care about number what the check say. Make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe, because it don't cost you nothing to press that button. And if you ring that notification bell, I'm going to bring you mail. What's the good old big deal with the good old people? It's Hot Topics with your boy Young Aunt Hefe. And I'm here to deliver you another one like the other one. The recipient of Hot Topics, Larry Hoover. The recipient of Hot Topics is Larry Hoover. Now, I know what you guys probably thinking. You guys probably thinking that, oh, okay, he's here just to speak on Larry Hoover getting commuted by Donald Trump. No, I am not. I could have been spoke on that situation when it first happened. I did want to speak on the situation. I didn't make it to the situation and end up pushing out other content. However, I'm scrolling down the tube today. You know how that go. Looking at some of the content that I look at, and something pops out at my eyes. I look down, and I don't know if the title is in these specific words, but GDN, Gangster's Disciples leader Larry Hoover, was shot and told. Now, when I seen this, I'm like, oh, God, this got to be some type of fake news. This got to be some type of hoax. People hating. He got that sentence commuted, and he's coming home. It's been a long time coming. A lot of people keep hopping out there, hey, well, you know he still got a 200-year sentence. As I've been telling people, once the feds grab you and they take you and they give you a life sentence, which it said your release date is your expiration date, death, deceased, when people look you up. Being that the feds took him, usually the assumption will be that 200 years he owed to the state of Illinois will be taken care of. Now he's been commuted, and now people are saying he still has that 200 years, that it don't go away. So it looks like Trump gonna have to commute him again, or we gonna have to see what's gonna happen as far as that 200-year sentence, because I would have thought that the Fed sentence ate that up once he got that life sentence in the Feds. Now, as I was saying, it's being said now that Larry Hoover is a snitch. And although I don't know the man, it breaks my heart to break this news, because I love and like some of the ideologies and lines that he was pushing. I like the ideology, the growth and development he displayed. He's been a strong figure. He did that time, and I don't know if it was nobody to tell on or what the situation is, but like I said, it's ugly. It's like this for me. This is like one of those situations where you have like a Monster Cody or whoever that dude was in your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? There's many names out there. I'm just giving one. And how he wrote this book, you know, how he was the epitome, you know what I'm saying, of the gang banging world, most noticeably, and things like that. You be wanting this same recognition, and you be wanting to follow the path and footsteps of these dudes, you know what I'm saying? Because all the substance based they portray just on a dangerous tip and just on the development of being mindful and displaying their smarts. That's like you following their footsteps of gaining your reputation, and then you look up and that paperwork come out on them. It's just damning. It's self-destructive. It's a cold day in hell when these things come out and these things happen. And like I said, I don't know if this is true or not, but we definitely about to get into this content. And it's the Hef Weight and the Hef Effect. We gonna commentate.
Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all and y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're gonna be speaking on some prehistoric paperwork that hit the internet that I'm not even responsible for, but I fact-checked it. And in this video, we're gonna be speaking on Larry Hoover identifying two rival gang members to police that shot him.
Tell him, bruh. Who free, bruh? My mother, he free. Who? Larry Hoover, he free, bruh. Yes, sir. Larry free. They mad that we in GD. Free them gangsters. Free Larry Hoover.
Now, President Trump just gave the presidential middle finger to anyone who ever called him racist after not only pardoning NBA YoungBoy who's about to go on a mega tour, but commuting the sentence of the Larry Hoover.
His name is Larry Hoover. He's the reputed leader of the black gangster Disciple street gang, one of the largest in the nation. For 20 years, he's been locked behind prison walls because of a murder conviction. This week, he goes before the state parole board, and he could soon be a free man.
Done my time. I paid my debt to society. Anytime you do a extensive amount of time, it can have two effects. It can harden you, or it can make you think. And I've thought.
Now, for those that don't know, Larry Hoover is the founder and former leader of the Gangster Disciples, a major street gang based in Chicago that spread from the Midwest, dominating parts of the South, and even reaching out to the Northeast. To this day, many prominent rappers are members of the Gangster Disciples, while other rappers have been known sworn enemies to the Gangster Disciples. Larry Hoover, a kingpin, gang lord, murderer, is a man whose name has held power for over 50 years. But today, his legacy is in question as the unthinkable has happened. Remo from No Jumper would post to Instagram a photo of what appears to be prehistoric paperwork, detailing a shooting in which Larry Hoover himself was the victim. Parker High School sat in the Inglewood neighborhood on the south side of Chicago. On September 4th, 1968, it was the first day of school, and it would be turned to a crime scene. Leader of the Supreme Gangsters, 18-year-old Larry Hoover informed the police that he was standing in the school hall just outside the principal's office when two members of the East Side Disciples appeared. They were identified as 18-year-old James Highsmith and 20-year-old Leonard Longstreet, and they did not go to Parker High. Hoover told police the two walked past me in the hall, and Highsmith smiled. Then Longstreet said, "Burn him," and Highsmith pulled a gun and started shooting. I got hit. Larry Hoover, the 18-year-old leader of the Supreme Gangsters that came before the Gangster Disciples' creation, flat out told the police 2 rival gang members entered his school and shot him.
So there it is right there. You heard it for your own ears. You seen it for your own eyes if you on this channel and if you watching, unless you blind. So what appears to look like this is a situation that occurred, long ago. Although in the underworld or the street world, that doesn't matter. People like to rationalize that snitching is snitching. So, however, when he did, if this is in fact true, because this is a newspaper article, I don't know if this is how they used to do the paperwork back in the days, or if there's black and white to the situation. But a few things are sensible that I can say, although I don't know if it will matter to other people, being based on all the love and support he have. I'm most certainly are going to still stand with him, but we'll see how the tides sway in this situation. So, before the GDs, it was Supreme Gangsters. I've heard that the founder of the Black Peastone Rangers, who I can't think of his first name right now, but his last name is Ford. I'm hearing that at one point in time, or even probably now, still to this day, or for a good time of his life, Jeff Ford was Larry Hoover's mentor. And it was said that Larry Hoover was a black disciple at one point in time. I don't know how true that is. But what we do have right here that's being read, that's supposed to be credible from this newspaper article out of the state of Illinois, is that Larry Hoover, at the age of 18, was a Supreme Gangster. And in fact, he was going to school, and as he was at school one day, 2 rival members of another gang called the East Side Disciples had happened to come on his school grounds and shoot Larry Hoover. They come on the school grounds, shoot Larry Hoover, and it was said later on that Larry Hoover had gave a description of what happened and who the mans were, even said their names, or identified who these guys was, which one did the shooting, which one passed by and walked, which one passed by and smirked before the shooting happened. Now, a lot of people grasp their gangster image from the Italian mafia as early as I can remember. I'm pretty sure it was gangsters before them, but the gangsters that was being shown on TV that may have shaped a lot of people's mind frames and how they move and stuff like that came from them guys. And the law was omerta with them, but even we seen with them, although that law omerta was in place, people been talking and telling since the beginning of time. Now, I don't know how it was played out there in Chicago, if this was a cool thing to do, or this before the rules were set in place, or whatever the situation was. But they are saying that this in fact will happen. And as is going to be detailed and said throughout this segment, it's crazy how all this came out after this time. As old as this paperwork is, and as much love that this dude has been getting shown, and people advocate for him, his name is in musics, people ready to go to war and trip about and for Larry Hoover because the substance he's hold. But now you have this. Is this a deal breaker? Let's get back into the rest of this content.
Larry and the 2 others were all shot in the legs and rushed to a hospital. Only minutes after the shooting, police arrested the 2 gang members who were out on bond for 2 separate shootings. A Cook County grand jury would indict the 2 men on charges of aggravated battery on Larry Hoover. Now, this is going to piss a lot of people off, but before I do that, I wanted to confirm whether this was even true, because this didn't seem to be an arrest report. This looked like a newspaper.
10 out of 10 friends say you have to go to that wing place. And that pizza
Clipping. So I dug into the Chicago Tribune dating back 57 years ago, and what I found was page 14 of the Chicago Tribune from September 5th, 1968, the day after the shooting. The article was titled, "Police Arrest 2 in Shooting of 3 Students, Gang Rivalry Blamed for Violence." 3 youths were shot down in Parker High School in what police described as a continuing battle between rival street gangs. Inglewood police said the shooters were identified by the victims in the hospital and several other witnesses. The police identified Larry Hoover as a gang member, and again, the article would state Hoover told police who shot him and how it happened. Now this would be considered snitching by anyone following the quote-unquote code. But what about the one who created the code? This was Larry fucking Hoover, the founder of the Gangster Disciples, a man whose name is at the top of Chicago gang lore along with Al Capone. And this wasn't the last time he'd be mentioned in a newspaper. 2 years later, it was 1970, and Hoover was one of 3 arrested for gunning down a 19-year-old on 69th. 3 years after that, a 24-year-old was kidnapped and shot to death. Hoover would be picked up on a murder warrant, and a week later, a witness set to testify against Hoover was found dead on the south side with 2 holes in the back of his head. It was too late though. The 26-year-old had already given a deposition to police stating he witnessed Hoover and another man kidnap the victim the day before the victim was murdered. They dumped his body in an alley, allegedly because he was suspected of stealing drugs from the gang's supply. This murder was what took Larry Hoover off the streets of Chicago at the age of 23. Deemed a ruthless killer who'd been involved in multiple shootings and murders, Hoover was sentenced to 200 years in state prison. While inside, Hoover continued to lead the Gangster Disciples, which led to a 17-year federal investigation. In 1995, Hoover was indicted by the feds from state prison and 2 years later sentenced to 6 federal life sentences for extortion, money laundering, drugs, and continuing to engage in a criminal enterprise. Larry Hoover ran the Illinois state prison system like a Gangster Disciple warden, so the feds took him where he'd be helpless, stripping him of all power. In prison since 1973, Hoover spent nearly 30 years at ADX Florence, the federal supermax. His neighbors would be terrorists, mass killers, and cartel leaders. His cell could only hold 1 man. A shower would be brought to his cell, and his mail would be seen through a screen as physically touching it was too much of a privilege. Larry Hoover, for the last 30 years, has been in a cold concrete hell until now. Trump commuted the sentence of Larry Hoover, which led many to believe Hoover was going to be a free man. But many realized.
Okay, so since I covered this, allow me to say this. And I'm going to say this because I know that this dude is a dude of substance and have pressed the line on black warfare time, you know what I'm saying? This newspaper article thing is kind of tricky, but that's how it be out of town, you know what I'm saying? This newspaper article thing is kind of tricky because in this newspaper article, these are whoever is writing in this article of the Chicago Turbulent is saying something that allegedly Larry Hoover said. If he did this, in fact, there gots to be black and white or some type of statement. Not a newspaper statement, but as well, I don't want to sit here and say it's not true, but I don't want to sit here and call this man a snitch, although this is being read out in front of me and played for me that Larry Hoover and 2 other dudes were shot. Later on, allegedly, Larry Hoover identified this man from a hospital bed. and this was supposed to be a rival gang hit. These two guys walked on these dudes' school grounds and got cracking. They didn't get charged for murder. Nobody died. They didn't get charged for no attempted murder. They got like an aggravated assault. And I'm probably sure like a lot of dudes don't even be living up until they 80. So whoever these dudes is that Larry Hoover got into it with, they probably died. But I'm pretty sure over the years, being the recognition that Larry Hoover got, and Larry Hoover was bigger than these guys, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure at every given chance they got, if it was true, they were saying that Larry Hoover was a snitch, and oh yeah, he been told on us, yeah, we shot him back in the day, walked right up on that schoolyard, yep, and shot him, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure it went something like that. Now, of course, a lot of GDs and people up under Larry Hoover, they gonna be mad. Rightfully so, they gonna be in their feelings, you know what I'm saying? As I said, this is the grandfather and as well the dad to some of these other guys. You see the elder dudes crying and stuff like that, man, Larry out, man, Larry coming home, they letting him go and stuff like that. So, as 1090 Jake was pointing out, if this is true, man, like, you know, like I said, we just got to see what way the ties sway. Now, it's crazy he's been in that federal system all this time, probably about 30-something years, and they definitely do extensive paperwork checks. Now, yes, it would have been easily for somebody like Larry Hoover to get away with his paperwork not being checked, being how long he's been in the feds, and being that he's a gang leader, and his case was put out there and publicized, everything that happened, you know what I'm saying, because he's went down, as they explained. So after he got shot, he turned it up. He went on one allegedly, started knocking stuff down and hurting people. He go to jail for that. From there, they say he still was running the GDs from in jail. So what they do? Okay, we got to get you up out of Illinois. You got too much power, and we about to give you this federal indictment behind that. He get indicted, get moved to the feds. I don't know if Larry Hoover had ever walked another main line in the federal system but ADX. As you know, and as you hear in ADX, you read that mail off a screen, and they bring in the shower to you. Can't nobody be around you. You know what I'm saying? I think they would put you in the red cages by yourself, or they might put you out there with somebody you cool with or something like that. But being that you the big dog and you got that type of status he got, your paperwork don't get checked. You doing all the paperwork checking. You know what I'm saying? And can't nobody really come question you about your paperwork but other GDs, and all the GDs fall up under him. So if this was in his PSI, because that will be there, his PSI probably never got checked. And then like them other brothers, good brothers, you know what I'm saying, if this is true, I'm going to keep on stressing that was on that tier with him and was on that guerrilla warfare, just based on his status and who he was, and that his case was televised, a lot of people probably not going to even question him. You know what I'm saying? And then that they all back there on that road in ADX, they all rocking with each other, you know what I'm saying? Because if I'm speaking correctly, I've heard dudes say that, he ain't been on that, tier, and been in warfare or been in disputes, with cricket police that was at ADX that was disrespected. So, like, he could have been in the feds all these years and got away with this based off who he was and the person he is. But y'all already know it's the halfway to half effect. Let's get into the rest of this content.
200 years before the feds stepped in, and he has to finish it. A bittersweet victory for those that know him, as he's one step closer to home, being now that he'll be back in Illinois. But at 78 years old, it isn't known how long he has to continue fighting for his freedom. One would assume he'd be treated like a god in Illinois State Prison. The man is a Chicago legend, but one can also wonder, why is it always when someone's about to be released, paperwork comes out of nowhere? We saw the same thing happen with Big Meech, and how everyone, including Meech, thought he'd be welcomed home like royalty, and instead, the former drug lord is doing Instagram promo. But what about the GDs? How are they going to react to reading the clear black and white of Larry Hoover, the very founder of their beliefs, identifying the two rival gang members who shot him when he was 18? Does it not count because it was so long ago, or because Hoover became so powerful, nobody dared talk about his statement without the risk of being killed? As of May 29, 2025, Larry Hoover is no longer in
Hoover has helped me just put my music out there and expand my fan base. They've helped
federal custody. And according to the Illinois Department of Corrections, he's been transferred to Dixon Correctional Center, a medium security prison. Hoover's current release date is October 25th, 2066. Now I'm gonna say this first and foremost, and with all due respect. If you weren't born in the 50s or the 60s or are a direct relative of Larry Hoover, I don't give a fuck what you have to say. Because if you're one of these GDs that's my age, 30 or younger or even older, talking about why are you talking about it, he don't even know who the fuck you are. This man's been in prison since 1973, so you can save all that gangster shit. I don't want a bunch of pitchforks emojis on my fucking Instagram. I don't give a fuck, to be honest. But it's very interesting that this paperwork came out of nowhere, right? I don't know who had this shit. I don't know if the Stones was holding it. I don't know if somebody was waiting for it, right? But they literally waited until his sentence got commuted, which nobody expected, and then boom, this shit hits the internet. I didn't do it. I don't know where it came from. But I looked into it, and yes, I found multiple articles detailing what took place. And that's what happened. Larry Hoover got shot on his first day of school. He's most likely a senior since he was 18. 2 rival gang members walked into school and shot him in front of the principal's office. That's some gangster shit. If this doesn't make you look at Chicago like, holy fuck, it's been like that forever. This was in the 60s. They're walking in schools with guns and popping off in the fucking hallway. This shit was like that in the 60s. He got hit with a 32, which is probably why he survived. But then apparently Hoover went on a killing spree and was just smacking shit. And you gotta understand, Hoover got taken off the street at 23 years old. This man was a certified smacker, leader. But unfortunately, if you go by the paperwork, he's also what? He'd be considered a snitch, right? He identified the 2 people that shot him, and they were rival gang members, and the police went to their house and got them. Now, he wasn't the only one that identified them, but he did. And there's nothing that can really, there's not an excuse for that, you know what I mean? There's nothing that somebody can say that's like, because people will say all types of things as snitching. That's way less than what this is.
Alright, so man, y'all heard everything y'all heard and seen what y'all seen. This is a touchy subject, you know what I'm saying, for anybody of that status and with that reputation, man. So, yeah, for real, kind of what 1090 Jake said as far as, you know, I hope ain't nobody coming at me. Like I said, the paperwork is the paperwork, or the news article is a news article. They said it, I didn't say it. I just went over it because, you know, I can't believe it. And, you know, I still like to see black and white on this matter, if there is any black and white to this matter. And with that being said, we gonna conclude this there. It's your boy Young Ant Hefe. Don't care about number what the check say. Make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe, because it don't cost you nothing to press that button. And if you ring that notification bell, I'm gonna bring you mail.
Be acting like they own shit over there, my nigga. You feel me? Like, nigga, you don't own nothing over though, bro. Nigga, get to the hood. Nigga ain't got, nigga, we can in front of somebody else's house. If you don't knock it off, nigga, I'm finna go in the house, go, nigga, take my shoes off, nigga, turn on YouTube, make me some content, and stay out you niggas' way. Because it be 10 niggas on the block with 1 strap. You feel me? I got my own strap. You feel me? I ain't passing shit on. And I ain't put my life in another nigga hands. So the fix all that, right? I'm just stay my monkey ass in the house. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And there's so much niggas telling out here nowadays. You don't know who's snitching. You feel me? You got a strap on you. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, you got Crash, the FBI, the National Guards pulling out, going straight to you. But you want a nigga to come to the hood.